Hello guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Jamally Francis for those that are new here at Jamally Francis's ArchInstinct. So today guys, what we're going to be touching on is what are floor plans in architecture and what to look out for. As you can see on the image on the right hand side, this is one of my floor plans that I done in first year of uni. I didn't want to get copyright for much things, so I use this image because floor plans are very delicate in today's age. And if I decide to post someone's floor plan on the internet that is not mine, I could get in trouble for it. So this is one of my floor plans from first year. Very basic, very simple. Was our dream house, and this is what I decided to do. And what I'm going to explain to you is what architects see for floor plans and what a normal person see for floor plans and what they can do for everyone. So let's get into it. So first and foremost, what is a floor plan? A floor plan is a scaled diagram of a building's layout, showing rooms, walls, doors, and windows, and other architectural elements from a top-down view. It provides a bird's eye view perspective of a specific level of the building and is a fundamental part of the architectural design and construction documentation. So what this means is floor plans basically give us the information to know what is in a space. It's a 2D drawing of a 3D space, basically. So what you can do with that is give it to builders and they'll look at those 2D drawings and make it into a 3D dream home. If it's a lab, whatever it is, you get architectural plans, structural plans, you get MEP plans, you get so many different type of plans nowadays, and they all work hand in hand. So let's get into the next slide. What are the different types of floor plans? As I was just mentioning earlier, architectural floor plans used for designing and constructing buildings. So if you're a person and you've got a little change in your pocket and you want to build a house, for example, you find your architect, you tell him, listen, this is what I want, boom, bam, bosh. And then guess what they go and do? They draw up exactly what you ask them to draw, and then they go and liaise with a builder. And then those architectural plans are passed on to the builder, and the builder's able to read those architectural plans as they've been trained to, and they can build something off of that once it is feasible. But that's not it. There's more to it. Architectural plans are just a mere imagination, if you guys want to put it in that sense, in that context, if you get what I mean. So you can have your own imagination and say, I want to build the Shard, for example. Cool. This guy drew a pointy building and said, yeah, I want 50 floors in there. I want an elevator in there. Cool. That's possible. But what architects aren't trained to do is structural plans. Structural floor plans more go in depth on load bearing elements. So these elements can be columns, beams, foundations. These things help hold up the actual skeleton of the building. So architects basically make a skeleton and then skeleton of the building, and then the structural team come in and then make that skeleton work by holding it up with different things. After that, we can get the traders in, i.e. the plumbers, the electrical team, the mechanical team, and they put these services in your building. For example, you want water to come to your building. Turning on water alone is one of the most important things in a building, and you need to have a whole plumbing system, make sure it's connected to the mains and these sort of things. And these are all the traders do, and they need plans for those things. So for example, you don't have electrical and your plumbing lines running against the same thing, because guess what, if electrical and water, your house is going to burn down. Your house is going to burn down, sorry to say, but your house is going to burn down. Which leads me to the next situation, which is a fire evacuation plan. This plan is read by everyone and anyone. This plan is designed to help the client, help the user of the building, help anyone that enters this building escape the building safely within a designated time period. This will help you find your way in and out of the building, know where is the fire extinguishers, where are the fire precautions to help out the fires. such things. Firefighters need to read these, normal people. So these plans all work hand in hand. So what are the key features of a floor plan? So let's break it down. So you got walls which indicate the structure of a space. So your room, everyone has a room. If you look around you, you got four walls, right? Yeah, the four walls, those four walls make a confined space, and that confined space will have an area. Yeah, and depending where those four walls sit, that is going to be your room. If we go on to the next thing, you got doors and windows, which show their position and their opening direction. So on a floor plan, you might see a door or a window, depending. On floor plans, they're normally cut at 1500 millimeters high. Yeah. So what that means is, depending how high your windows are from the floor level, when you cut the floor plan, you will see certain windows depending how your plan is. If your windows are well high, yeah, than 1500 meters, then you might not see them. But then that's just a bit more in detail. Those windows might not be seen, but you can adjust and play with floor plans to see them. But in a regular floor plan, you might see these windows, and these windows and doors kind of show you where the doors and windows are placed within those four walls, and if it's an entry to a room, or if it's opening clockwise, anti-clockwise, if it's opening inwards or outwards. So these things help you understand the space a bit more and the context. Next, we're going to move on to rooms and labels. These help define the different spaces. For example, on the floor plan, you might see it's got kitchen and then a measurement underneath, for example. That's showing you, okay, this place is the kitchen. Some floor plans might not have a label saying this is the kitchen, but then that's when we have furniture and fixtures which show you what the space is going to be used. For example, you might have a living room, but it might not be marked living room, but you might see a sofa and a TV, and you understand from those furnitures in the room that that sofa and that TV could be used as a lounge, a living area where people can sit down and watch TV. So it's kind of understanding the context of what's on the floor plan. Next, we have the dimension and scale, which provide accurate measurements for the construction. So for example, it might say the dimension of this wall is 5 meters, and then it can say the opening of this wall is 1810, for example. So you know that 1810 is the door opening, so you need to get the builder to find a door that's 1810 to fit in that space. This is just kind of some of the coordination that is put in place for builders, engineers and architects to understand where things are going and how big they are, so it's not misinterpreted and they're not just looking at pictures, for example. And the next one is annotations and symbols, which represent electrical outlets, plumbing fixtures, stairs, etc. So you might see on floor plans they've got these dashes and lines, which can be a bit confusing, but on a professional level, the contractor, the construction specialist, the architect, the design team, they understand what those things are, and they liaise with each other to explain, okay, this is that. They might have notes in their floor plans just to explain this is that, that is that, and all of those features will be found on a floor plan. So how are floor plans produced? As you guys can see, there's two images. On the top image is an older image of a architectural studio where they used to use drawing boards, and they had a lot of people where one person might take up one part of a drawing. For example, they could be doing the ground floor, next person could be doing the second floor, next person could be doing the third floor, etc. And this was very time consuming, but this was how the industry actually started. They never had all these big fancy laptops, they never had all of these big fancy servers to help you do everything. On the bottom image, as you can see, is a more modern day current time frame of an office, an architectural office, where they've got screens, they've got desks, and a lot of the work is done digitally now, because saves one, the environment. It leaves less of a paper trail. Everything's digital, so you can just log on your laptop. Yes, we know that having laptops can break and everything, but 9 times out of 10 nowadays we got things like servers that they're backed up to. So these things do help. So that's how the industry has taken a big jump, as you guys can see, from these big working offices where people would be drawing and looking, continuously walking around, having those conversations, where to now you can just pop each other a message on the computer. You can send them screenshots of what you're doing, which is much more proficient when working. So floor plans are created through a structured process that involves planning, designing, and drafting to represent a building's layout accurately. This process can be done manually using traditional techniques or digitally with a computer aided design, CAD. So CAD is very new. So if you guys have ever heard of AutoCAD, those were in the early 2000s, 1990s. So they started to introduce the computer softwares to help the design, because they realized it's not as proficient and as viable doing drawings on drawing boards. They made some amazing buildings in the past year, but the amount of error and the amount of time that it might have taken them to do it compared to how quick it takes them to do it on the computer is why they lean more towards the computer sides and building information modeling BIM softwares. So I'm not sure if you guys have heard AutoCAD. Again, early 2000 was the computer aided design, but then later on they kind of introduced it BIM, which is a lot of softwares like Revit, Autodesk, which own all of it, and they basically push a lot of BIM, which is information on buildings, which is just modeling, and they can be shared through different practices, different people. It's all on a server. So it's not like I'm going to have to look through 10 million different sheets of paper. It's all in front of me within the click of a button. Next, who are floor plans for? So floor plans are for many different type of people. So let's break it down. Architectural and designers. Architectural floor plans are more just the skeleton of a building. So your walls, your doors, etc., your windows, those sort of things. Then you've got your engineers, right? And your engineers help the architect make their skeleton work. So the engineers and the architects are the two main practices that work hand in hand to make a whole building. So them to once those architectural plan and structural plans are put together, you can basically pass that on to builders and contractors to know, cool, these plans are what we're gonna need. Boom, bam, bosh. You can pass it on to the contractor. The contractor and the builder, they read different types of plans. In another video, I'll be speaking to you guys about scale. Architects work at a different scale, engineers work at a different scale, contractors work at a different scale. Contractors work at a very, very detailed scale compared to some others. Architects kind of just draw. Engineers go into more details of what they've drawn, and then contractors and builders go into detail of what the engineer and the architect's drawn. So some people just go straight to the builder because the builder might have the knowledge of the architect and the engineer. Some people might go to the architect, then they're going to need an engineer, vice versa. Next, the client and the homeowner. The client is the person that initially goes to the architect or the builder to get initial plans of what they dream to get built, and aka they could be the homeowner after that. For example, the builders build something for the client, pass it on, now they're the homeowner, they live in it. Same with the real estate agent and the property developers. The real estate agent and the property developers kind of have a close relationship with the client and the homeowners, because these real estate agents then go to homeowners, buy their homes and houses, and they sell them. They're selling them to different homeowners and that property developers, they work alongside contractors very close. They might work alongside architects and engineers, but they work more closer to the contractors because property developers want to cut out a lot of the costs. They just want to build a lot of buildings that want to see the finished product. So they're going to speak more to the contractors that have the skills of an architect and an engineer. So they're cutting out costs so they can get their buildings built quicker. Next is the facility managers and the maintenance team. These people, for example, in schools, swimming pools, libraries, these people that are the key holders and they look after the building, they clean the building, they maintain the building, they need to know the floor plans of the building as well, because without them knowing the floor plans, they might not know every single nook and cranny, every room to check to make sure no one's hiding in those places when they go and close it, or anyone's stolen anything, or do you get what I mean? And then last would be city planners and regulatory authorities. So city planners and regulatory authorities, what they do is very important as well, because a lot of the time you're gonna have to get an architect to draw some plans for you. But it doesn't stop there. Architects follow a lot of legislations and legal requirements that are then approved by these planners, city planners, and these regulatory authorities. Without it being approved, guess what? Those contractors and builders are never going to see those architects' plan. So a lot of architects tend to draw floor plans which are never built because they're not built to the standard or the level of the level that is required by these city planners. The city planners are people that put things in place to stop people from building buildings that are going to get people hurt. City planners do play a big role in the architectural and the engineer industry. At the same time, they do put a lot of things in place to stop them from building buildings that can hurt people as well. So those are things that you want to look at as well.